I think what I value Woody's opinions about things, and I think about them sometimes after I hear them later on, and I make decisions sometimes based upon them because they're always so good. However, there's one thing that he says often, and it is just so against everything that I've experienced that I don't understand what enigma created this reality. And it's whenever he talks about how good Wings smells in person.
Yeah.
And it's just like every time we talk about meeting him, he's like, I'll tell you one thing, I look forward to the scent of that man. It's gonna be fucking delicious vanilla and sandalwood with a hint of tobacco.
Damn, he does smell good. If that's
he smells like mahogany and fresh deodorant.
Yeah, you walk in his house and it's like walking in a Bed Bath and Beyond.
So Kyle had him for the
he smells like a man. Camp. I don't think he's like particularly smelly or anything. I'm not trying to say that about him. But he smells like a sweaty man, and he
not at the billionaires thing. He was on point.
Best behavior. I linked a video in here. We probably shouldn't show Wings video, but it's just silly. I still say I've come full circle. I just want to say I don't think the fight is going to happen. That is. I don't know why I went out of focus when I said there we go. I don't think the fight is going to happen. That is my best guess based on all the information that I have. I don't really have any secret information no one else has, but it just seems like this shit ain't going to happen. And I told you the other day with like the idea of the whole tamale, that because that's what you got to buy. You're not just saying, hey, do you think Wings is going to box? Yeah, maybe. But you're asking, hey, do you think Wings and his family are going to get in a jet and fly to another country, and he's going to take his shirt off and he's going to fight another man on pay-per-view? Nope. No fucking way all that shit happens. I believe that he'll say, like, some way along the way, we're going to stop. Like there's going to be, we're going to stop somewhere through that process of getting from signing a contract to throwing a punch. There's like 15 things that are going to stop him.
What if Wings gets all the way to the locker room and then gets cold feet?
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of internet villain that would make him? I would have to walk into the ring at that stage just because I don't want to face the public backlash. But maybe he
gotta go.
Do it.
You gotta go. That's it. You've signed that. I've told you about that nightmare I had where I'm being informed that I have agreed to a boxing match. It has been agreed upon on my behalf, and I have limited time to prepare for it. And the dread is that you've got to go. They're waiting on you. You can't not go. This isn't fucking. I mean, imagine at high school if Billy's gonna fight Jim outside the gym after school. If you don't show, you're the pussy forever. You got to show up. Take your beating.
Zach reminded me of the survival trip. Somehow I wasn't thinking about it and equating it to this.
Oh
but
my God.
Yeah, right. He spent weeks and months. Remember what a pussy? He called Lefty a pussy repeatedly.
He called Lefty a pussy.
He called Lefty a pussy.
I'm not a big Lefty supporter, but that was wrong. Lefty was upfront and honest. Hey, I'm a city boy from Chicago. I'm not going down there in those woods.
Yeah.
Or whatever Lefty sounds like.
Wings was just, you're a pussy. This is it was going to prove what a man he was.
He was like,
he didn't play that well.
Down here in the South, it's kind of how we do things. We're in the woods with our mud flaps, and man, maybe I talked some shit too, but I planned on going. There was never an idea of not going.
We went. We did it without him.
We were silly thinking that our fire making skills perhaps were going to be clutch, or that maybe if we could tie a certain knot, it would make all the difference. I think I had those thoughts in my head on that first little trip. But yeah, getting back to the point of the he will just not show up. Man, that was an awkward conversation.
I had this idea on the survival trip that like I would make the fire, and that would be like I'm actually good at that. And that would be my skill. And then someone else would find the food. This is a little bit like we're going on a long drive. You do the driving, I'll do the sleeping. We'll split those duties. It's like, no, Woody, what you're bringing to the table is not of equal value. This is a common thing. Anyone can start a fire and maintain it. Finding food turns out to be the impossible task.
Yeah, it's really, really hard. I think that the key to a good survival trip and show and YouTube, whatever, is exactly what they do in survival. it's enough rice to keep you going. Plus whatever you earn.
When you think about the real survival shows, the ones where they don't feed the participants.
Yeah.
It's never about starting the fire. It's never about building the shelter. They all accomplish that part of it. It's about starving. They're slowly starving.
Yeah, you're always weak. You don't have a lot of energy to think about things. Like you don't think about that, I suppose, but your mental horsepower is lowered when you're not eating. You're not as creative, and you're not as good at coming up with ways to get food.
Sometimes,
he just won't show.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're ever getting there. I don't think they're ever getting there. I don't have a Twitter, so maybe I missed the key genesis of this thing, but it just kind of seems to me like there's not a fight, and there's not going to be a fight, and it's just fun to talk about a fight.
It is fun to chat about, and it would.
It is fun to chat about, but it would not be fun to watch like any boxing match. You can take two of the best in the world and throw them in the ring after they've been training all year to beat each other up, and it's boring. Yeah. You're telling me you can throw Boogie and Wings in a ring, and I'm going to be tantalized for 10 minutes? Get the fuck out of here! It's going to be pathetic. And when one of them falls and hurts himself, it's going to be sad.
I can take two high schoolers who hate each other, have them fight in a playground, and it's compelling. I am watching that shit. I don't think training makes fights better.
Yeah, anger and freak fights can sometimes make it better. Like I would rather, if it was between Tyson Fury and whoever fucking another good boxer is, or Wings and Boogie, like I would genuinely rather watch the undoubtable catastrophe that will be Wings and Boogie. Same. Because like as someone who doesn't care about boxing, and I don't think most of the people watching this give a fuck about boxing. Like they just want to see like Call of Duty players beat each other up, or like, fucking fashion YouTubers fight.
When I think of all the fights I could make in the world, right, of people that are alive, GSP versus Khabib, it's kind of interesting. Maybe I'd like to see that. John Jones versus Stipe, John Jones versus Ngannou, Wings versus Boogie. I have a hard time picking amongst the fights I just listed.
Wow.
Yeah,
this is a personal friend, Yeah, it is probably not fair to compare, because we know, man. We've met him. We've touched him.
Everybody knows him.
Yeah. But not like we do. We've touched him. We've smelled him. We've looked deep into those sorrowful eyes and seen evil look right back at him.
Wings of Redemption is more famous than Stipe.
Sure. I don't believe that.
I do.
I think there's a website in there, like a clout website that like shows like current. If I just don't think so, man. I don't know. Like it depends how you
famous longer.
If you did a poll of every person on the planet and saw how many of them could spell Stipe's name and knows who he is, and who could do Wings' name and knows who he is, he'd probably win that. Yeah, I guess he in some regards he would be more notable, but Stipe's like a currently famous guy who's discussed on mainstream television.
Yeah, he's
every
way more
week.
Famous than Wings.
Like
I feel like sometimes because a person's famous on YouTube, that fame gets like it's less prestigious. If 100 million people watch this guy on YouTube, then that's not as cool as someone like some fucking Arrested Development.
Wings is more famous than Stipe. Here's there's not people making. There's 100,000 views a week from fans devoted to Wings, at least. Probably more than that. I'm probably grossly underestimated because I don't watch that stuff. But there's hundreds of thousands of views every week on Wings, and that doesn't happen for Stipe. It happens for the sport of mixed martial arts or UFC or like a whole weight division. Maybe there might be, but yeah, you're right. Like Wings is a pretty famous guy. It's just the thing is you can't turn that into money. I don't think, but I could be wrong. I just don't think that you can turn that into money. I don't think people will pay for the Wings show. I think you could produce a Wings TV show, reality show, that I would subscribe to a service just to watch. I think you could do that. I want to see his daily life. I want to see his family life and interactions, and I want to get beyond the fake Wings. You can kind of see when he's putting up like a persona on a little bit, being funny. I'd like to get past that and just watch him live his life. I would pay for that for sure. But that's
I need it to be well
Yeah,
edited and put together.
There aren't
yeah.
there aren't any videos made by third party documentarians about Stipe that have 9 million views. So I guess
Yeah.
you're right.
It's the problem.